Hello everyone, today we're going to be making the ultimate fried rice recipe. I'm talking about party style. You know the one you have at a wedding that you cannot forget. I'm not talking about the color washed ones. I'm talking about the ones with proper ingredients, rich, vibrant. Yes, that's the exact type of fried rice recipe you're going to learn. And of course, trust us to always take it a notch higher because it's Omaya Cook Summer Cooking Class. And we're going to start first with sweet corn, right? Sweet corn has a particular sweetness that it gives your fried rice. If you can, it's best to get the corn that is on the cob. Otherwise, get the ones that is store-bought in a can. That equally works. Okay. Next is smoked frankfurters. Now, frankfurters became very popular in fried rice a few years ago. Okay. Traditionally, livers are used, which is why you're going to see liver also feature in this recipe. But I also thought to introduce the modern with the old, which is adding the sausage. But here is smoked sausage. If you can, get precisely smoked sausage. There's a difference in flavor from the regular frankfurters or regular sausage. Okay, I'm going to be using flavored oil also in this recipe, and here I have my spring onions. Notice that I have the green part, which is the leafy part, and I have the stem, which is the white part. They are going to undergo two different cooking processes, so pay attention. And next I have my carrots. Okay, I have carrots here, even though I have mixed veggies, which I'm going to show you shortly. So keep your whole carrots. We're going to use it for something really special. And next I have my rice. I'm using basmati rice in this recipe. Feel free to use your short grain rice or your local rice, that equally works, or your long grain rice. If it's not basmati, it's still fine. Just use whatever is available to you. Okay, and I have my secret spice, I have my fresh herbs, I have my green cayenne pepper. Guys, I love the secret spice because aside the fact that it has a lot of parsley, it's going to put in flavor into this meal. And this guy is one of my favorite peppers. It is fruity, it's spicy, but it has a lot of flavor. And I'm also going to be using rosemary in this recipe and also fresh oregano. Feel free to replace with the dried version. And this is a recipe you probably wouldn't have seen coming, okay? And it's our prawn chili oil. I'm sure you're wondering how is this going to come through in this recipe. Don't worry, just set it aside. And next, I'm also going to be using honey in this recipe. It's optional, and you're going to also see why. So also set this aside in this recipe. And next, we have thinly sliced beef. Now, this is going to be one of the proteins I'll be using in this recipe. You probably have already seen the turkey somewhere. You've seen the smoked sausage, and now I'm introducing to you thinly sliced beef. It's also going to add a lot of flavor to this fried rice. Plus, we did not call it ultimate for nothing. And we have liver because I love paying homage to the original fried rice recipe that first started in Nigeria. And when we used to make fried rice then, it was liver, and that flavor is still undefeated. So yes, I'm adding liver to this recipe. And talking about proteins, here is our turkey wing. We're going to be using this in this recipe. Now, please note, I'm making the ultimate fried rice recipe. It doesn't mean that if you want to make your fried rice, you have to get all this protein. Feel free to substitute which one for the ones that you have. It's not compulsory that you use every single one. But yeah, that day where you want to do a very special fried rice recipe, probably for the holidays or your birthday or Christmas or weddings or anniversary, this is that recipe you want to pull up, okay? And here I'm using butter. I know I've introduced margarine a lot in my recipes. Today I'm using butter because again, it is premium overload. I have some diced onions here, which we're also going to be using in this recipe. And for this fried rice, I decided I wanted to use purely white onions. There's a difference between red onions or purple onions, your brown onions, and your white onions. The difference is in the amount of sugars, natural sugars that they have in them. Okay, so I'm using white onions for this recipe. And here I also have some yogurt, Greek yogurt precisely. If you don't have Greek yogurt, okay, what you can use is also mayo. So feel free to substitute yogurt with mayonnaise. And next we have our mixed veggies. This is a mix of your carrot, chopped carrots, your green peas, and sweet corn. Okay, so you can usually get it store-bought or simply get the ones you have in the market. Open markets, peas are sold, sweet corn are sold, carrots are also sold in the open markets. Dice it up, and this is what you want to have for your mixed veggies. One of the things I absolutely love about fried rice is how lots of fresh vegetables are used, okay? And this is why you cannot do without having bell peppers in your fried rice recipe. If they're not bell peppers, I'm not sure you can call it fried rice. So you want to get your bell peppers, okay? It might not be as much as this because I'm literally making party quantity. But yes, you definitely want the presence of bell peppers in your fried rice. I believe that's all. We can now go ahead to cook. Now I want to start with what will probably take us the longest to do, and this is our protein. Our turkey is going to be marinated, guys, so I'm making cuts on it. Turkey has already been cleaned, and I've used a paper towel to get out all the excess moisture on the body. And now I'm just making cuts so that whatever marinade we're making is going to enter into that turkey. Okay, sometimes if I'm going to do this for a party, I'll actually marinate it overnight, okay, and not do it the morning I'm making my rice, so that you can have all that lovely flavor into your turkey. But if you want to do this really fast, you want to use things like mayo and yogurt, because they speed up the softening process of the turkey or your protein, and they help flavors to go in really fast. So now that I've put cuts on all my turkey, you're now going to get your yogurt. Again, like I said, you can use mayonnaise, that also works. You're going to just slather that all over the turkey, and preferably you want to use sweetened Greek yogurt. Okay, now I'm going to get that chili oil. Remember our prawn chili oil? It's a perfect condiment for marinade, guys. So I'm going to take that out. It's going to add some heat. It's going to have a lot of flavor, and then I'm going to just put that all over. Next up is our seasoning cube. Okay, I'm using chicken bouillon cube. I'm just going to sprinkle that all over. Again, as always, remember you can always use your stock, right? So you've already made your homemade stock. That also can go all over. So I'm just going to wear my gloves now. And then just to add extra flavor to this, I'm adding my secret spice. Remember our blend of parsley, ginger, garlic, you know that spice. Okay, so I'm going to just add that, and then we're going to take this turkey to the spa. Give it a proper massage. Make sure all of this marinade goes into every fiber of that turkey. The cut you've made, this is where you want to ensure all of that lovely marinade goes into it. And you're going to allow this to sit for at least 6 hours. If you're not going to do this overnight, you can do this for 6 hours. But if you're so much in a hurry, you can do this for 30 minutes. But guys, the longer you marinate your protein, the more flavorful and juicy it's going to get. There's really no shortcut to this one. And that's why you would have usually for Thanksgiving, for those that are based in the US, you have people marinating turkey for 2 days, for 3 days. Some even do 1 week, as long as it's in the fridge. The difference is clear, right? You can use the same ingredients, but then you have that when you marinate it for longer, it's just super flavorful. So this is what you want it to look like. Look at how beautiful that is. I mean, the chili oil gave it that vibrant color. The yogurts, the mayo, everything just mixed together. So just cover this up in cling film. Put it in your fridge for 30 minutes, and then await the magic. While that is happening, get out your beef. We want to do a little bit of magic to this. First things first, I always love to get out that extra water because this was frozen, okay, and it's been. The reason I'm using a paper towel is that once you start to season this guy, okay, you don't want all the seasoning going to the water in the bowl. So you just want to use your paper towel to soak it up, and then we can continue with our seasoning process. And now you probably can already guess right. This is fried rice recipe, and this is literally one of the best seasoning you can ever use, which is your secret spice. So that is going to go into seasoning our beef, followed by your regular seasoning cube or your stock that you've made. And then you're going to mix and massage until every single beef is coated in this lovely juicy goodness you've just put in it. You're also going to allow this to sit for at least 10 minutes before you proceed to the cooking process. So while that is sitting, get out your blender. We're about to make something beautiful. Get your carrots. Remember the whole carrot I said you should set aside? Get it out, and next you want to get your yellow bell peppers. I know. And then you're going to get out your green sweet bell peppers. Add some water to this, and then we're going to blend. I'm sure some people are like, wait, are we still making fried rice? Yes, we are. This is the ultimate fried rice recipe. Like I said, this particular one is a labor of love. You're doing this for a very special occasion. I know says you can't even do it on a typical day. Some of these things are things that I would say you should have them in your freezer so you don't have to always start from scratch, okay? So we're going to blend this until it's smooth. Now that we have this smooth, we're going to set it aside. The magic is about to happen. We're almost there, guys. Right now, all the major prep has been done, and now it's time to start cooking. So the first thing you want to cook We're already marinating our turkey, okay? So what you want to do now is the beef. You're going to put some flavored oil into a heated pan. Make sure it is heated first before you put in your oil. Then you're going to add your seasoned beef, okay? And then you're going to fry that until it's cooked. You're going to first notice the color change, and the next thing you will notice is that it's going to release its lovely juice into that pot. Now, if you look closely at that pot, just look at all that juice. So allow this to cook on medium heat, not high heat. Keep cooking until everything is properly cooked. Now, because it's thinly cut, it wouldn't take as long if you were cooking your regular beef for soup. Okay? While that is cooking on one burner, get your second burner working, and you're going to put in your pots. This time, we're going to be cooking our liver. So the cow liver that we had earlier, we're going to be boiling that. The cow liver is an interesting protein to cook, so usually I'm very intentional when I'm seasoning this guy. So first, I'm using that fruity green cayenne pepper, and then I'm adding some onions. I'm also going to be adding some seasoning cube or seasoning powder. Fresh herbs are going in. I'm choosing rosemary. Again, feel free to use your dried herbs, that also works. And then straight away, I'm going to be adding water to this guy. So stir everything together, cover your pot, and allow that to cook. This is going to take about 20 minutes to get ready. You know when it's good and ready when your skewer can go in, or you cut a piece of it and taste. And this is precisely after 20 minutes for that quantity of liver, okay? Check from time to time and ensure the water doesn't dry out. Back to our beef. Look at how much moisture has gathered in the pot, guys. It's always how juicy this guy is for me, and you don't even need to add excess water. You just realize that it can cook itself with its juice. And then it goes from that to this, where you realize that the juice has been reabsorbed by the beef. It is now very, very soft. I'm going to take one for you to see. Notice how that literally just fell apart so easily. So it is already well cooked, but then once you get that lovely brown caramel flavor, okay, so I'm just going to allow this to brown more a bit. And yes, this is what you want to see. And notice how all the oils have come back, and I'm just adding my fresh oregano. Feel free to now use whatever herb you have available to you, or dried herbs, okay? Stir that together and our guy is good and ready. I don't want to dry it out so much. I just wanted that brown flavor because this is going to go into my fried rice and I don't want it to be overly chewy. So just a nice brown color like this, and we are good to go. Set it aside. Okay, so next to the same pan, after we've gotten out the beef, we're putting in our smoked sausage. We're going to fry that until it's brown, and then we're going to take that out. Notice I didn't have to add excess oil, okay? Because even for the sausage, it has its own natural oil. So I'm going to leave that to just brown on its own, and then we just keep stirring, then take it out. Back to our liver. It is looking good. Our liver is good and ready. The next step for this, guys, is just to dice it up so that we can match up with the same size as the sausage and the veggies. So you want to cut all the veggies, the beef, and whatever you're using to size. It's only the thinly sliced beef that will stay as it is. Otherwise, this guy is going to be cut into small cubes, and we are good to go with it. I just showed you how it's soft. You saw how the skewer went in so easily. And there we have it. Our liver is good and ready and super flavorful. And now we have our sausage ready. And so some people will be like, we're frying a lot. Yes, it's called fried rice for a reason. Most of the elements are going to be fried. But if you're worried about the oil intake, which you shouldn't be, because if you've noticed the cooking so far, I'm using very little oil. Okay, but if you're still worried about that, you can use butter in place of oil, or you can just simply air fry all these elements we're frying individually. So we have our smoked sausage good and ready. Take that out, and you guessed it, we're frying another element, which is the liver we had just taken out of the pot. This is just going to be a very light frying, okay? Just because, again, personal preference, I love when it's a little bit crunchy and not overly soft. There are people who will just go ahead and just add to the fried rice like that. So if you're among that group, beautiful and fine, okay? You don't have to fry it. Notice how this was just like 2 seconds frying, literally 2 seconds, and then I'm taking it out. And that's that for the protein. So I had to clean my pan, okay, and head to the vegetables. For the vegetables, you're literally going to need just 5 minutes on them. Heat up your pan, put in your oil, add your butter, just a little bit, about 2 tablespoons of butter, and then fry the white parts of your spring onions, just the white parts. So usually the spring onions has 2 parts. It has the floral part, which is green. That should come usually at the end of the cook, okay, and not now. For the stem, which is white, it gives you more flavor when you fry it now, okay? So you want to fry that with your onions, fry it for a few minutes, and allow that to be translucent before you proceed to add your vegetables. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from this class, okay, it's about building flavors. You see, seasoning your oil, frying your onions well, It is one of the most important steps to having a great food. Okay, it's not about adding so many ingredients, it's how you even start from the beginning. This is the color you want to see on your onions, and then you now add your vegetables. Now notice that I'm adding my bell peppers first. Now usually, okay, if you're getting your carrots from the markets, from open markets, and you're dicing them yourself, I would advise you start first with the carrots because it will take longer for it to soften. But because what I'm using are mixed veggies, store-bought mixed veggies that has carrots, peas, and sweet corn, it has already gone through a little bit of parboiling. Okay, so you don't want to overcook them. So that's why we're putting in the bell peppers first. So please understand, if you're doing yours at home and you're buying your carrots straight from the market, please, what should go in after seasoning that oil is the carrots and not the bell peppers. At this point, you want to reduce your heat to low. Okay, nothing should be boiling aggressively, right? And then now you're going to put in the mixed veggies, which is your carrots, your peas, and your sweet corn. You can now stir everything together just so it is well mixed. At this point, I realized that I was going to transfer this to a bigger pan because I didn't want anyone not being cooked. Always want the heat going around the pan to be going around it evenly, so you don't have a case where the one at the top is not cooked but the one at the bottom is burning. And that was why this switch happened. So I transferred it to my wok and I was really getting that heat going round. Otherwise, what you would notice, especially because you're cooking on low heat, right, is that the juice from the bell peppers, right, is going to start making it soggy, and you don't want that. You don't want it to overcook. You don't want it to be soggy. You want it to fry lightly a bit and then stop that cooking process by taking it off the pan. I'm taking time to show you this detailed recipe, okay, so that you can understand the process to making this, and then you can decide, okay, if you have 4 burners, you can have all of them cooking concurrently. And now it's time to face our rice, okay? I'm using the butter. That's what I saved my butter for, because that rice has to be super flavorful. So I have my butter going into my heated pot. Once again, I'm bringing out this special pot, okay? It just brings back that party vibe, and that's why I'm using it, okay? So you want that butter to melt a bit. And please note that butter can burn, so you don't want this to burn. So usually I don't wait for my butter to be fully melted before I begin to add, depending on what kind of recipe I'm trying to make. So I'm adding my fresh herbs, my oregano. I'm adding that lovely fruity cayenne pepper, okay? That is also going in, and it's going to fry in that butter, guys. I'm also adding my secret spice because this is where it's going to shine. And then you're going to stir everything together and allow that to fry for about 2 minutes on medium heat. It's at this point you're going to pour in your washed rice. Make sure to wash your rice. The process of washing your rice is not just because it's something we do. There's a reason for it. One is to get out excess starch. Second is to also get out dirt, depending on the rice it is, okay? But majorly it's to get out excess starch. So you want to just wash it 3-4 times until the water is clear when you put the rice in, and then you know you're good to go. And now it's time to toast your rice. You're going to toast it until it starts giving that popping sound like popcorn, okay? You're going to keep toasting, and so you're going to see a visible color change on the rice. It's going to go from this color to brown, slightly brown, and that's how you know that you're done toasting. I'm sure someone is looking at the pepper and saying, isn't that the stalk of pepper I'm seeing? Yes, it is, and it's all part of the flavor. Guys, you need to understand that some of these things are there for a reason, okay? Make sure it's properly washed, okay? It is not looking bad, and then you can use that in building flavor. It's part of it, guys, and you can look it up, okay? So I'm just going to keep toasting it. When you're toasting your rice, use medium heat, not high heat. You don't want it to burn, and you want to make sure you are stirring all the time, okay? Just so you don't have some sticking to the pot. And just like that, in about 6 minutes, it's going to go from that to this. Notice the color change. Notice how some are brown. This is so beautiful. Plus, this process of toasting your rice is going to help your rice to last for longer. You've heard people talk about how they make fried rice in the morning and by evening it has gone sour, it has gone bad. And to solve that problem, toasting helps a lot. It takes out excess moisture. It also makes the flavor of that rice to be so delicious. That toasted flavor on that rice is just so good. You don't want to miss that step in making your fried rice. And now I added some chicken seasoning cube, okay? I'm just going to add that to it to also add more flavor, and we're going to stir everything together. And for this fried rice, I'm adding the blended, who remembers the bell peppers, the yellow green, and the carrots that we blended with water. That is going to serve as a makeshift vegetable stock. Now, usually you want to use your meat stock, your chicken stock, but in this case, I don't have meat stock, okay, for this recipe. Well, I thought to show you guys another way you can just quickly make something very flavorful that will add natural MSG. Carrot contains natural MSG, and it's also good to add flavor to your rice. And that is also going to give it a very beautiful color. Notice so far I haven't used any curry spice. No curry has gone into this, and yes, the color is already giving the vibe of fried rice. You want to use natural vegetables to add color and flavor. Now I've just added more water, and I should mention this, okay, for those who are not sure, you want to use 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water. But for basmati, I usually use 1.5 cup of water to 1 cup of basmati rice. So you're going to allow that to cook. You don't want it to fully cook, okay? Just allow it to cook same way as you will cook your pasta as al dente. You want to do the same also for your rice. And I can imagine some people saying, oh, you didn't put so much water, will it fully cook the rice? The answer is yes, and the reason is two things. One, we're going to cook this on low heat. Secondly, we're using our foil. Now, what the foil does is it's going to trap the steam and the heat from the cooking. So that way you have whatever steam is evaporating is going back into the food, and it cooks your food with very little water. Okay, so you don't have to be adding water, diluting all that flavor and getting it not flavorful at all. What you want to do is cook on low heat and use your foil. After about 28 minutes, this is what we have, guys. It's looking so good. Once again, can you imagine that we did not use any single curry spice? We didn't use turmeric, and the color is looking so vibrant. Thanks to our carrots, thanks to our bell peppers, and well-made seasoning, the secret spice, all the herbs, that is what has contributed to giving it that lovely vibrant color. This is also the texture you want to go for. You should be able to break the seeds, that's press it with your hand and it's mashed, but you don't want this too soft, okay? So this texture right now for the rice is perfect because we are still going to cook it again. This time your work is literally done. You're literally going to be doing what I'll call layering, right? So I got a bigger pan, right? It's also on heat, very little heat, your lowest heat. You're going to heat up the pan, put in your rice, okay? And for me, I believe this is the best way to get all the veggies in. Otherwise, if you're just having to pour all the veggies on top of the rice, you have to stir and stir and stir. But if you have your rice first, you put your veggies, put in the rice again, almost like you do with your biryani, right? You just keep layering like that, and it makes it so easy to stir, and you would have all the veggies, the protein, everything well incorporated into that rice. I mean, at this point, you have to admit that this is just a work of art. This is just so beautiful to look at, right? You have all that layering that has gone in, and it's looking like, come and eat me. This is looking so good. So let's stir everything together now. And this will not take you time at all. I mean, you're just moving your spoon nicely, and all of that veggies that you've layered from the beginning is just coming through. This is going to take you a whole less effort compared to if you just pour all the veggies on top of the rice and start stirring from the bottom. That's why you realize that the bottom has no veggies and the top is the one that has all the veggies, and you don't want that. So this process of layering is so good and very effective. By the way, I forgot to mention that after 30 minutes, I took those creamy yogurty turkey wings and put them in the air fryer. And look at that. So it's at this point, okay, it has grilled so well. I flipped on the other side, so it's looking good. And remember the honey I spoke about in the introduction? You just drizzle that at this point over it and allow it to air fry for another 2 minutes, and that's done. Our food is ready after so long. This has to be probably the longest recipe so far. And now you just plate. As you can see, the rice is looking good. Your fried rice is in your plate as you prefer. Here I'm doing family style. And now layering those juicy turkey wings on top of it that is super flavorful. And guys, this is what we have. There you have it. Our ultimate fried rice party edition special is ready. Enjoy this with whatever drink you want and try it out. Let me know what you think. Okay, bye. Oh, by the way, I decided to add a little bit of bonus for anyone who wants to do a different kind of plating. And this is just how you want to do that. Have your rice pressed in a small bowl, cover in a bigger plating like this, and then raise it up and the rice looks formed like that. Put in your turkey, sprinkle your sesame seed, and voila.